This is the Blood Red podcast from the Liverpool Echo.
As our first half own goal then, created by a brilliant turn from Sadio Mane, was enough for Liverpool to earn the 3 points on the opening night of their Champions League campaign. No Virgil van Dijk, no problem. A clean sheet for the Reds too, with Adrian between the sticks. Joining me to analyse the action and give you all of the post-match reaction that you need is Kai Delaney. Kai, a rare appearance for you in front of the camera. It wasn't the best or the most convincing performance from Liverpool, but it's 3 points away from home against a pretty difficult opponent.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's classic away Champions League game in Europe, isn't it? Get in, get the job done, and get out with the 3 points. Playing kind of letting them have the ball for a lot of the game, and really Liverpool played most of the game on the counter and soaked up a lot of pressure. And the first goal came kind of straight after a really good chance for them and a good save off Adrian, and kind of that was the story of the game really. Lots of chances towards the end as the game opened up. A good night on the whole, and I think Jurgen Klopp will be happy.
Yeah, I definitely think he will be. There's been plenty of occasions where Liverpool have made it difficult really for themselves to get out of the group and left it late and that sort of thing. But I suppose it just goes to show the level of squad that Liverpool have now. They obviously made that substitution on 60 minutes, took off Salah, Mane and Firmino, but you never really felt convinced that Ajax were going to find their way back, even without probably three of Liverpool's best players not being on the pitch.
No, certainly not. And I think that was definitely something that was, premeditated. The three of them, I was surprised to see all three of them start. If I'm honest, I thought maybe one of the three would be rested, and you've got Firmino or Jota there kind of ready to come in. But he went with all three, and it was clearly plans to give them an hour, try and get the game won, which it wasn't quite a 1-0, but they were Liverpool in a comfortable position. So the three of them got an hour under their belts, and then Jota, Minamino, and Shaqiri will come in on half an hour of game time for them in away in Europe will do them a world of good as well.
Yeah, I'm sure one eye was on the weekend's game, of course, with Sheffield United. Plenty more to come on that. But we'll start with the goal then tonight, the obviously own goal from Nicolas Tagliafico. He became the first Argentine player to score for Liverpool in the Champions League, coincidentally. But it was a strange one. There was a few moments of quality in the game, but I suppose that the Sadio Mane turn was brilliant, but the actual goal itself was a slightly bizarre one for Liverpool to score, but you take what you get.
You do, yeah, absolutely. It was a goal under strange circumstances, but Liverpool were soaking up a lot of pressure at that point. I think Ajax I wouldn't say Ajax were on top, but Liverpool certainly, they weren't cutting them open. They didn't have loads of chances, but a good bit of individual play from Mane down the left, obviously just before a big save from Adrian. Thought at the time it may have been offside, but replays showed it wasn't, and it was an important save from the standing keeper. But yeah, a bit of a good individual play from Mane down the left, and you get your luck. Liverpool have not had their luck at times this season. Aston Villa, you think back to 3 deflected goals, and contributed to that scoreline. We all know what happened there, but yeah, the Mane shot, I think he initially kicked the floor, and then the ball seemed to take 2 deflections off Daley Blind, and then obviously Tagliafico got his legs in a muddle and went into the goal, 1-0 to Liverpool. But like you say, you make your own luck, and I think Liverpool well deserved to go 1-0 up.
Yeah, definitely. There was a couple of opportunities before that as well, I thought, with the counter-attacks and the space that Ajax were leaving. Liverpool didn't quite get it right, but I suppose when you've got players like that, they can just create a little bit of uncertainty in that back line. And Liverpool sort of controlled a lot of the game. There was one big moment, though, Fabinho clearing the ball off the line. Of course, that's probably the iconic image, really, of the match as a whole. It was very, very close to going over, but an acrobatic attempt. As we said before, no Virgil van Dijk for Liverpool this evening, but Fabinho slotted in there and looked like a natural centre-back, really, which I suppose is probably why Jurgen Klopp was happy to go into the season with only 3 plus Fabinho to play in that role.
Yeah, you'd have to say so. I'm not sure who got man of the match, but I'd be surprised if it wasn't Fabinho. He said that goal line clearance, very reminiscent of Milner at home to Leicester last season during the win there. But it was Fabinho and Gomez, and you'd have to say of the two, Fabinho probably looked like the one that had been playing the last few years as a senior centre back. But Gomez slotting over to the left hand side, and Fabinho on the right where Gomez would usually play. I think, going forward for this season, certainly, over the next few games, it looks like it could be Fabinho +1. I know we had a poll in the YouTube community yesterday. Who would you like to see now Van Dijk's out for the season? What's your first choice centre-back pairing? And 30% of the vote, and comfortably first choice, was Matip and Fabinho, and with no place for Gomez there. So, it suggests that that's what Liverpool fans want to see, Fabinho playing regularly as a centre-back, and he's certainly done himself no harm tonight. And I think there's plenty of options there. Klopp's said that we don't necessarily need to go into the market and sign someone in January. And if you look at Fabinho's display tonight and you think the names we have in midfield, people like Thiago, Henderson, Wijnaldum, Milner, Keita, who wasn't available tonight, Curtis Jones, who obviously got his first start in Europe. So we've got so many options in midfield. I think it would allow Fabinho to play almost the entire season as a centre-back if Klopp needs him to.
Yeah, absolutely. Liverpool's other Brazilian as well, Roberto Firmino. I want to touch on him quickly because I don't think he's been in the best of form recently, but I thought we saw a few little shoots there that he could be sort of getting back a little bit of that confidence. There was a few flicks and a few tricks. Not everything came off for him tonight, but it was a little bit more of the linking up Firmino that we've seen, particularly in the Champions League, away from home as well, quite a lot over the last couple of seasons. What did you make of his performance tonight?
I thought Firmino did well. Like you say, it was probably his best performance, of the last few weeks. Has been certainly question marks over his form. And like I said tonight, I was pretty confident either Jota or Minamino would come in for Firmino with either Mane or Salah through the middle. But Klopp stuck with him, and I have no doubts he will. He's one of Klopp's go-to men, and he never really seems to drop him or change him for anyone. So he's stuck with him tonight, and I think that's what Klopp will continue to do. He's certainly one of our key players, and the thing is, if you take Firmino out, almost the whole system changes because of he's not, the goals and the assists aren't really what he's measured on. He allows Mane and Salah to be the players that they are, and I thought, as you say, he did well and linked up well tonight, and wouldn't be surprised if he starts and plays against Sheffield United again on the weekend.
Yeah, I'm sure that will be the plan. Fabinho and Firmino both likely to play again for Liverpool in the positions they did tonight. Alisson Becker won't be back for the weekend. Adrian will still be in goal. He, of course, was a big talking point over the last couple of weeks and certainly probably will continue to be until Alisson is back. At times, I sort of feel like when you're watching him, it's almost like reminiscent of when Simon Mignolet used to be in goal. That sometimes you get away with it. Tonight he did, make a couple of decent saves and did keep a clean sheet. You don't want to criticise him too much, but you just never feel quite comfortable when he's there, certainly in comparison to when Alisson's there.
Absolutely. I mean, there was a couple of moments early on. I think Gomez was shepherding the ball back, waiting for Adrian to come out and pick the ball up, and they kind of ran into each other. Adrian ended up tackling Gomez, and it looked like it could be another one of those nights. And then a few minutes later, they kicked the ball into the striker closing down, and luckily it went out for a throw-in. But that one of those that could have gone anywhere. So bit of a dodgy start, but I think on the whole, he made a couple of big saves. As I say, the one before the 1-0 did well, and kind of grew into the game, I think it's fair to say, and the game kind of settled down. His performance, he grew in, and his performance kind of grew in stature as the game went on. But just as Liverpool was seeing the game out, there was a 92nd minute heart in mouth moment, which that could have been the game 1-1 and a draw. And then everyone's talking about Adrian again, and how long are we going to be without Alisson? So it's as you say, it's very Mignolet, kind of 7 out of 10 most of the game, will do most things right, but there's always 1 or 2 errors, and we saw, I guess you could say, 2 errors tonight, but he got away with both of them. But there's a chance. I think Alisson could be back for the end of the month, West Ham possibly, so only maybe another week or so with Adrian in goal. So I think maybe Sheffield United, and then the following Champions League game next week, and then we could be back to Alisson.
No Alisson, of course, and no Van Dijk either. There was some suggestion from some people that Liverpool might try and change the way that they play. Maybe Trent and Robertson wouldn't go forward quite as much as they normally do. But I don't think that really happened tonight. We saw them both going forward, particularly in that first half. I thought Andy Robertson was, in particular, really, really good, carrying the ball and driving at the heart of the Ajax defence. I mean, Trent was slightly quieter. I thought Robertson was the better of the two. But, I mean, how well did you think he performed tonight?
Yeah, as you say, there was a lot of talk before the game that losing Van Dijk might not only impact us defensively, but offensively with the fullbacks having to kind of stay on a bit of a tighter leash without that surety of Van Dijk behind them. But they weren't. Robertson was one of our most offensive players tonight, and I thought both the fullbacks were really effective and offensive going forward. And it didn't seem to affect us, really defensively or offensively tonight.
45 minutes for Curtis Jones. Reece Williams, of course, came off the bench as well. It does go to show the level and the quality that Liverpool have got, not just in reserve, but in terms of the youth prospects as well. I mean, it wasn't probably the 45 minutes that Curtis Jones would have hoped for. I'm sure he would have wanted to stay on the pitch a little bit longer, but I'm sure we're going to see a lot more of him in Europe over the next few seasons.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, every time Curtis Jones plays for Liverpool, it tends to be in the domestic cups, and he seems to be man of the match nearly every game, scoring worldies against Everton and last minute the winning penalties and the shootouts, and he always seems to be the centre of attention. Not quite tonight, but invaluable game time for him away in Europe against not an easy team in Ajax, and a solid 45 minutes. I certainly don't think he did anything wrong. Brought off at half time. I haven't heard anything about a knock. I think that was purely just bring the captain on, get Henderson to kind of shore the game up and see the result out. But that will be a great 45 minutes under his belt. And Reece Williams, unexpected, I'd say, to come on at the end and kind of see the game out, but was involved straight away, won a couple of headers and played a clearance. It kind of almost turned into a pass through to Jota in the last few minutes. But for all of Liverpool's squad and certainly a couple of youngsters tonight, invaluable game time.
Yes, very positive indeed. A good result then for Liverpool to open their Champions League campaign with. The Reds, of course, face FC Midtjylland next Tuesday. The Danes were heavily beaten 4-0 at home to Atalanta tonight. Atalanta, the team that Liverpool faced the week after that, of course, as well. So plenty more matches in Europe to come over the next couple of weeks. That's all from us tonight, though. On the debrief, stay tuned for Jurgen Klopp's post-match press conference. Plenty more reaction from the game as well to come across Blood Red over the next couple of days. Liverpool.com podcast to come tomorrow, the Blood Red show as well before the weekend's game against Sheffield United. Until next time, though, from myself and from Kai Delaney, here on the debrief, it's goodbye for now.